It's Monday. Welcome everyone. Today we have got a lineup of stories that each highlight how projects in the ICP and Bitcoin DeFi ecosystems are trying to push standards higher. Whether it's new tools to secure liquidity, AI stepping into governance reviews, lending platforms proving long term viability, or shifts in token distribution, each of these developments points to the different ways decentralized networks are shaping themselves. These aren't isolated updates. Together, they show the breadth of experimentation from risk management to transparency and from financial models to governance accountability. So let's get into each of them and see what they mean in practice. First up is KongLocker. It's a tool that has just gone live, aiming to bring clarity and security to how projects on the internet computer manage liquidity. The principle is fairly straightforward. When a project decides to lock liquidity through KongLocker, that liquidity cannot be moved or altered by developers. This approach shifts the dynamic from trust based assurances to something verifiable and permanent. Here is how it works. To register, our project spends two ICP. One ICP goes to the black hole canister confirming registration with KongSwap, while the other is distributed to Alex takers as a fee. After this, the token is automatically added to KongSwap, and from that point forward, the liquidity is permanently locked in. The canister doesn't have the power to transfer liquidity, even if cycles run out, and it doesn't require developer input to keep operating. The idea is to prevent a problem that has haunted communities before, like liquidity suddenly disappearing, often leaving token holders at a loss. By blackholing the canister, KongLocker ensures no single party can rewrite the rules after funds are locked. Supporters argue this is an important show of accountability. By using KongLocker, project teams demonstrate our willingness to give up control in exchange for community trust. Critics may question whether the upfront cost will deter smaller projects or whether voluntary adoption will be enough to make this a standard practice across the ecosystem. Either way, the tool highlights a cultural shift. Communities are pushing for mechanisms that can verify trust rather than simply take it at face value. By also trying in Alex takers with the fee model, KongLocker blends liquidity assurance with token incentives. Whether it gains broad adoption or not, it sets the bar higher for what transparency should look like on the internet computer. Next, let's talk about governance. Querio has rolled out an AI driven system designed to automate the review of proposals on the internet computer's network nervous system. One of the persistent challenges has been that proposals can carry core changes which impact the protocol's core infrastructure. The windows for reviewing these proposals are short, and context is often spread across different places. This makes it easy for risk to slip through unnoticed. Querio's tool addresses this by acting like an automated analyst. Whenever a new proposal is created, its plugin retrieves the details, extracts the repository and commit range, and generates a comparison link to the code changes. Those changes are then split into manageable chunks and audited with a large language model. The results are aggregated into a structured report that's encoded and permanently stored on chain. The reports aren't locked away either. A lightweight web app makes them accessible, showing severity ratings, affected files, and the reasoning behind each finding. At the same time, an open chatbot publishes links to the full reports as soon as they go live, ensuring the wider community has immediate access. For voters, this means greater visibility before making a decision. For developers, it's a chance to see precise feedback at the file and line level. And for the community as a whole, it creates a permanent and verifiable audit trail for governance. Of course, automation has its limits. While AI can help surface risk faster, questions remain about accuracy and accountability. How does the system handle false positives or subtle issues an algorithm might miss? Governance, after all, depends on both timely insights and community judgment. Looking ahead, Querio plans to extend this framework beyond the NNS, opening the possibility of reviewing service level governance systems too. If that vision plays out, it could enable broader dashboards, risk scoring, and trend analytics for multiple communities. The tool is ambitious, but ultimately its value will depend on how the community responds to its findings and whether they see it as a trusted ally rather than just another filter. Over to Bitcoin DeFi now, where Liquidium has announced it has paid out over $9 million dollars in yield to lenders. The project describes this as free sats for Bitcoin DeFi users, marking a major milestone in its 3-year journey of building a Bitcoin backed lending platform. Liquidium operates without bridges or middlemen. Instead, loans are directly backed by Bitcoin and settled fully on chain. By removing custodial structures and relying on Bitcoin itself, the model aims to reduce counterparty risk. Supporters see this as proof that a resilient lending market can exist natively on Bitcoin, not just on other blockchains like Ethereum. The payouts are being used as evidence that Bitcoin DeFi is more than just an experiment. Critics, however, still raise concerns. Can these yields remain sustainable in different market cycles? Will volatility or competition from more developed ecosystems put pressure on the model? Those questions remain, but the 9 million mark matters because it demonstrates that lenders are willing to put capital into the system and that they have been rewarded for doing so. For Bitcoin, often described as purely a store of value, this shows that financial services can emerge on top of the base chain without leaving it. Whether the model can keep scaling is still up for debate, but for now, Liquidium has carved out a position as one of the leading Bitcoin native lending platforms. Finally, let's talk about token distribution. The number of addresses holding at least 1 million ICP has reached 77, the highest count seen this year. On one hand, this is seen as a signal of confidence from large investors and organizations. Having more addresses at this scale suggests that key players are committing long term capital to the internet computer. That kind of stake can be viewed as stabilizing for the network. On the other hand, it raises old debates about concentration. Fewer holders controlling larger shares of tokens means more influence in governance. In systems where token weighted voting determines outcomes, that concentration can make it harder for smaller participants to feel their voice carries equal weight. The milestone prompts important questions. Will the number of large holders keep climbing? Will their decisions align with community interest? And how will this concentration affect broader adoption of dApps and developer activity on the network? This trend doesn't offer easy answers, but it highlights how distribution metrics matter. They don't just reflect investment, they also shape governance dynamics and community trust. So, those are today's 4 stories. A new liquidity tool pushing projects to commit more visibly, AI stepping into governance to give communities sharper insights, Bitcoin DeFi proving it can deliver real payouts, and a look at how ICP's distribution is evolving. Each story reflects a different piece of the decentralized puzzle. Together, they remind us that progress isn't just about flashy launches. It's about addressing risk, proving durability, and navigating how communities share power. Before we wrap, a quick note: Ledger Live is an independent platform. We don't take sponsor money and we rely on reader and viewer support to keep reporting, researching, and producing these updates. If you find value in this content, please consider making a donation. The details are in the description below, along with direct links to the projects we have covered today. Every contribution helps us stay consistent and keep the focus on real stories from across decentralized ecosystems. Thank you for tuning in, thank you for sharing, and see you next time.